And welcome to Race Talks live on location. I think that's what we're calling it, right, Dave? Race Talk Live online. There we go. One of these days I'll get it right, Bobby. Race Talk Live online.
We're going to have to make you
one extra word online. Yeah, and I can't remember it. I can't. I have to use a cheat sheet.
Race Talk Live online. I'll try to help you out next time.
Okay, help me out, Bobby. Welcome to Race Talk Live online. Working on a couple sponsors. We're still needing a few more. Got a great show lined up for tonight. Bobby's done a fantastic job working behind the scenes. We've got Tony and Chris Humphries going to join us this evening. Ought to be a fantastic show.
I do got to apologize. I know I announced that Austin Allen and his dad Chris and Bo Davis were going to be coming from Wichita, but they got home Sunday night from the IMCA banquet, and Austin got on his phone and found out that he had mandatory overtime at work. So that kind of put a little wrinkle in the mix, but he said the next week at the 15th when we have another show, they would love to come. They ought to be able to get things worked out by then. So
you got them set up for the 15th then?
So we'll be seeing them the 15th.
Okay, because I've got a few other people that are interested, so we'll have to schedule them around that.
All right. Yeah.
But you're in charge of scheduling the guests. You know how this works. You only call me when you need help. So
I know,
that's fine.
and I needed help this week.
And that's fine.
The guys, like I say, they got home kind of late from the banquet, and he found out and thought, oh, boy, this ain't going to work. And so I have to give him a rain check till the 15th. So, and
there are some people that are interested. I've talked to a few. So
that's good.
That's good. Just because you told me to, because otherwise I make it a mess when both of us do this. We've tried that before. It doesn't work so well. Well, it does. It works too well.
Yeah, and this deal is a little more fun. I mean, we can kind of make this work a little because we can go a little longer. We aren't restricted on any time. So
no, the only thing I'd like to do with this thing is pick up a few sponsors. We need to, we've got to get David some funds for doing everything he does for us.
He's got a lot of equipment scattered out here,
and I don't know what time he gets here, but last time it was like 4:00, and you and I show up about 10 minutes to 7. The beauty of being the co-host,
He's definitely the behind-the-scenes guy, that's for sure.
Couldn't do without him. Yeah. Salina Axis is showing a little interest in filming this for us, too.
That'd be cool.
And Rusty's all about that, so he said make it happen. So I'll send David to school and make him make it happen. Probably couldn't do this with them on board, but we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Let's get into the program here. NASCAR ended up.
Yep. Finished it up finally.
What'd you think?
It was, I think he deserved to win. I mean, he ran good all day and made it into the chase like he planned. And
then let's talk for a minute here then. You and I can discuss this stuff like we always have, but, here's a guy that missed 12 races.
Right.
Do you think that's fair to the guys that ran the whole season?
Well, okay.
NASCAR made a concession and said, okay, you can come run for the chase. You had 2 broken legs or whatever it was he had.
Yeah.
And come get into the chase with us.
He got into the top 30 in points is what he needed to do because the top 30 are the only ones eligible, and he did it by winning. Gosh, what did he win? 5 or 6 races?
He did. I have no idea what kind of pain he was in to drive those race cars. He came back and he won on a road course.
I know. Yeah. Wasn't that something?
You had to use both feet.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Pretty tough character. I read the story about his recovery and stuff. He's got to go back and have more surgery.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, they're going to take the screws and pins out now.
Oh, I see.
And he's got, and he wanted to wait until after the season was over.
And they were talking about, and this is.
But wait, do you think that was fair? You didn't answer that question.
Okay. Tony Romo broke his collarbone. He broke his collarbone. He was out for 4 weeks?
Right.
Does he deserve to, if the Cowboys make the playoffs?
They won't.
Does he get to play? I
understand.
It's kind of
Kyle came back and played, but
yeah.
Did NASCAR change the qualifications for him to? Did they do anything special for him?
They kind of did a deal like they were talking. I was watching Race Hub last night, and they had Ricky Rudd on there, which had the Iron Man award going until Jeff Gordon broke it.
Right.
They were talking to Ricky, and when he flipped it Daytona really, really bad.
Yeah, did you see him?
Oh, yeah, that was
was wicked.
wreck. I mean, he messed up his leg and everything else. He came back the following week and couldn't bend his leg, so they had to put him in the car, and he couldn't push the clutch pedal, so they had to rig up a hand clutch for him to be able to get in and out of the pits, because he couldn't use the clutch pedal. And, it's just like a job. I mean, you get paid for workman's comp. In
the article I read, the hardest thing for him to do was lay in that hospital bed and watch somebody else drive his race car.
Yeah,
Can you imagine that?
Oh, yeah.
I understand football. I get that. I mean, but here you're talking about a guy that's his car. That's
Yep.
It wasn't his seat in the car anymore, but that's where he belongs. I had a little understand that.
I had a little argument with my kids at home too, and they said, "Well, the whole the football thing, that's a whole team." Well,
that's a team.
The racing is a team, also. I mean,
it is, but we depend on one man inside the race car to do the job.
He couldn't pull into pits and get out, change all the tires, and put gas in it and everything by himself. I mean,
it just seems odd that a guy that misses 12 races can win the championship. But he came back. He won a lot of races. I wanted to get your opinion on it. That's what we do best, and he won a tremendous amount of races. Won at a road course after going through surgery. I mean, that had to be tremendous.
Oh, yeah.
And had to outrace his brother.
Yeah. Yep. He did.
Do you imagine Thanksgiving at that house?
Yeah. I wonder how that goes.
What did you think of the race at Homestead? I thought it was
good.
boring.
You thought it was boring?
Nah.
I thought it was okay. I mean,
debris caution with 10 laps to go.
They should. Well, they did show the piece. I mean, there was a piece of metal, a piece of aluminum strap that was laying on the track. They first showed that water bottle laying inside there, and I thought, oh boy, they better come up with something better than that. And then they showed the piece laying under the flag stand that was blowing around. So I don't know.
Today's announcement, Robert Pemberton, director of competitions, retiring. He's leaving. Did you hear that?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he's gone at the end of this season. Didn't say what he's doing next, just said he's up for the next challenge. He was the one with the phrase, "Have at it, boys." And I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens next year.
Yeah, it will be. Yep.
But
they were going through some of the stuff. Of course, Clint Boyer is going to be taking over the 51 car
for 1 year.
And
then he goes over into Tony Stewart's seat.
They had a big, long interview with Tony last night that was really cool, I thought. He sounded like he's kind of ready and he's kind of not. But, I
think it's one of the hardest things for a racer to do is walk away from that car.
That would be tough. Yep.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yep.
So what else you got over there?
Well, we was visiting a little bit. While we're on the NASCAR thing, also Chris Buescher ended up winning the Xfinity Series championship, and Eric Jones won the trucks.
Yeah.
So to finish out.
And again, we talked about this. Christopher Bell has a full-time ride next year.
Yep.
And looks like Rico's doing a pretty good job
He did a great job.
And looks like he's going to get a ride next year.
They were talking.
You think he's got an advantage because of his weight?
Yeah, I don't know. We was talking about that on the last show, and having his seat a little higher too in the truck might be an advantage also.
Yeah, but I think NASCAR makes those cars weigh pretty much all the same.
Yeah, but having your weight up higher is
an advantage.
Maybe.
We know that.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
if we could get me up higher in the car, it'd be a bonus.
It might be different on pavement. I don't know. But
yeah. But so that'll be good. I'm anxious to see that. Banquet's going to come up for NASCAR. When's the banquet? A couple weeks yet?
Yeah, I think it's a couple weeks yet.
It's before Christmas.
I always enjoy watching that.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yep.
And then, did you make it to the IMCA banquet?
Nope.
Didn't go this year?
No. Got plans of going next year, though.
Do you?
We want to win another points championship.
About time.
I know, it'd be fun.
Yep.
So
talking about you guys the other night, couldn't remember. Talking to a buddy about yours, and Brian's always a tough competitor, so it'd be nice to see you guys win another championship.
I think he's
going to need a new car to do it, or what?
I think he's kind of hungry for another one.
Yeah. Going to need a new car?
We got things in the works.
Things in the works? You're not going to tell me, are you?
Yeah, no, I can't.
New engine coming? Can't say that either.
Well,
Yeah, that's speed
I will
secrets.
tell you, we don't have a new engine coming.
No?
No,
Okay.
no, nothing wrong with the one we got. So,
Gonna keep running there, huh?
yeah. We just keep changing oil.
When's the Salina Speedway's banquet? Anybody heard?
No, I haven't heard. I don't know.
Somebody needs to look and see.
Yep. Not sure.
Because we got
when it
banquets
is.
coming up. Thunder Hills banquet's coming up too.
That and Hayes and yeah.
Hayes.
That's,
And then somebody asked a question the other day, Walkini Speedway. Anybody heard anything?
no, I haven't.
Are they going to try to reopen?
I hope so. I haven't heard anything definite. But while we're out talking about out west, Brady Binkin, Rod Binkin's boy, had a little accident here a few weeks ago on the highway. Went to pass a car and ran off the road and hit a guardrail and flipped and ended up in the hospital for a little bit, but I guess he's doing okay. So
Good to hear that. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
Good to hear that he's okay.
So-
The weather has been frightful
yeah,
last few days.
I don't think the weather had anything to do with it. It was real
deer?
late at night, and Whaley went to pass a car, and I don't know if he was met another car he didn't see, but anyway, he ended up running
In
off the
ditch.
road, lost control, and went off the road. But
Glad to hear he's okay.
he's doing okay. Yep.
Rod's a good guy. Does a lot of work out there, and he
Oh,
drives.
yeah.
And Brady drives a race car,
Yeah, he's got a hobby stock.
hobby stock.
Yep. In fact, I got his name here on the.
What do you got over there, anyhow? You're not going to
here.
share that with me, so I might as well let you do it.
Well, here I'll share.
No. I can't read your hieroglyphics.
I gotta thank Jessica for doing this all for me. She did a lot of work here. It's pretty cool.
All right, run with it.
In the IMCA national points, we just did some of the local guys that some people would be familiar with, but in the modifieds in the national deal, Dylan Sherfick ended up 13th in the points, which
Okay.
is a good run for Dylan for the season. In the sport mods, of course, Mr. Tyler Fry ended up taking home the national championship. That's pretty cool. I know Tyler's been trying for so long.
Talked to Tyler last night. Tried to get him to come on, be on the show, and he wanted to do it.
Yep.
And he was going to ask his wife if they could come do it, but she had her company Christmas party, and I
Yep.
said, no, you don't.
And yeah. And that was kind of funny that he had to ask his wife because my daughter ran into her in Manhattan at a bank deal. She's I guess works at a bank. Anyways, they were at a convention there in Manhattan, and she said, "I'll be so glad when the banquet's over with." Because then she can kind of put racing aside for a while, and then we go and call him to come to this race talk show. So, the chances weren't very good of him getting to come.
Yeah, no.
But anyway, Clay Money ended up 7th in the national points, and Daniel Gottschalk from out west ended up 17th. So, good run for those guys. In the state points and the modifieds, Jesse Richter from Great Bend
State champion.
was a state champion there. Mike Petersilly come home 2nd. Dylan Sherfick was 4th. Tanner Black was 5th, and Kyle Roletter ended up 7th. And in the stock cars, Jason Rogers won the state points, Kansas state points in the stock cars. Nick Tubbs was 2nd. Jeff Tubbs was 3rd. Casey Walken was 9th. In the hobbies, Tommy Foss ended up 7th, and Brady Binkin was 6th. And in the sport mods, Clay Money won the Kansas State points. Daniel Gottschalk was 2nd. Blaine Walt 3rd. Tyler Fry 4th. Curtis Peel was in 7th. Tyler Watts was in 8th. And Brendan Damon ended up 10th. And then she had to throw this one in because this is kind of cool. The Oklahoma state champion was, guess who?
I have no idea.
Mr. Van Gimmel.
The old man?
Yeah.
Really?
He went
Van?
and put a whooping on the young guys.
What?
Yeah.
He's got to be close to 80, isn't he?
Oh,
70?
I don't think he's 80 yet.
Is he
but
70?
I think he's in his 70s anyway.
We need to find out. I'll
Yeah.
find out. I'll text.
Yeah.
I'll text Brendan and see how old Grandpa is.
Yeah. So he ended up winning the Oklahoma State points, which
Wow.
is pretty cool.
You know, he's been racing down there at that Longdale Speedway. I've
Uh-huh.
heard that's a pretty nice place.
It is.
You been down there yet?
No, I haven't made it. I almost went, but I looked and seen it was like 5 hours away. I ain't gonna drive that far.
Yeah, that's a bit much. Can you imagine hauling down there in a tow rig from here?
Oh wow, that'd be a haul. In the we got some regional point winners. Dylan Smith picks up the regional points.
Mike Petersilly again in 6th.
And Jesse Richter in 9th. Jordan Grabowski in 10th. David Murray Jr. 12th. Kyle Rollader 16th. And Tanner Black in 19th. The IMCA National Rookie for the region was Mr. Tanner Black.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I guess he ended up 8th. I'm sorry.
8th. Yeah, there you go.
He was the rookie. Regional Rookie of the Year. He ended up in the rookie national points. He was 8th.
8th and
Sorry about
national
that.
points.
There
Okay.
you go. So that's
That
pretty
makes
cool.
sense. Yeah.
Good run for them guys.
And he runs out of the Extreme Motorsports stable.
He does.
Okay.
Yep. And you stop and look, there's quite a few of the Extreme guys on the list there.
Vegas didn't go so well for the local boys, other than Tyler Fry.
Yeah, I don't know. They we watched it on TV. Other than
What'd you think?
Saturday night, they got to do some work to the racetrack.
Is it because they don't do enough racing out there? Is it
I
because of
think
the dirt, or what is it?
It's got to be something like that. I mean, I don't know. It's just every year. It seemed like it was turns 3 and 4 last year, and this year it was turns 1 and 2. It was so bad. So, man, I don't know, but
I know, and everybody's got to race the same track, but still, when you're tearing up cars and equipment, that's tough.
And to take to have such a big race like that and have guys coming from so far away, they kind of deserve to have a little nicer.
Boone's
place
nothing
to
like
race
that.
on. No, it's been, but they've
farm it.
been able to fix it, and but. Yeah, they just couldn't get the sand and the rocks to stick together down there, I guess.
One of these days I'll make it. That's not high on my bucket list. There's a couple others that I want to get to before I go there. Try and get back to Boone next year. Uh-oh. Did you get in trouble? Did you get scolded?
Yeah, I did.
Now what?
Well, my other daughter, Melanie, she's the one that does all the results all summer long, and I guess I forgot to mention her name, but just did it one time, and I mentioned her name. Mel's pissed.
Yeah, well, I can tell you're not going to have very many results from now on out.
Oh, boy.
Usually they come and join you, but they didn't make it tonight, huh?
Yeah, I think they were I know they went and did something with Dennison Lagoon, so, yeah. I don't know. Whether they're babysitting or what.
So our next show is going to be on the 15th.
Yep.
And then going to skip until after the first of the year, you think?
I don't know. We'll guess.
We'll talk with Dave. We'll get that
talk to
worked
our
out.
Producer about
we'll talk
that.
to the producer after the show, and then
Yeah.
we'll have it out for you next week sometime. But we will have one more show on the 15th for sure, and then we'll see how close we get to Christmas. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having Austin and Chris, and I would like to I met Bo Davis one time last summer, just real quick. Got to visit with him. I'd like to find out a little more about him.
I'm going to see if I can get us another microphone for that night, too.
Okay.
I thought about it tonight. I just didn't make it over. I have not been feeling very well. It's my fault. I just didn't get over there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got, and it's odd. Austin lives down around the Wichita area.
Uh-huh.
And they're running under the IMCA banner, which means they run out to Dodge City.
He's won the points championship over there. I know it was 2 years in a row. He might have gotten more than that.
So it's an oddity because most of the people that live down in the Wichita area run under the NCRA banner.
Yep.
And race for C-Ray down there, but he's racing out in Dodge City under the IMCA thing, and that's a good thing.
Yep.
I like to see that. C-Ray's never ever going to endorse IMCA. We all know that. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to. He's quite happy with what he's got going on down there, and I don't think anybody's going to tell C-Ray what to do.
No. And I mean
he does fine. That's the way it is.
Yep.
And that's fine.
He's made that place go for years, and yeah, why fix it when it ain't? When it's not broke?
I'm thinking he's going to pick up some Neesmith shows next year, so I'll probably run down there a couple of times. Looking forward to that.
Good.
So
Anyhow,
tonight, go ahead.
I know C-Ray. He always tries to take care of the, about any class. I mean, he took on the Mod Lights, which that turned out to be a good deal, and he ran the late models down there, and of course the sprint cars, and then his weekly modified shows and the thumpers and road runners.
And they run some classes down there. They still run midweek. They run couple classes in midweek, and then they'll run Saturdays or Fridays or whatever.
Yeah, it don't matter. And that's kind of cool because he's got the population, of
to draw
Wichita
from,
draw from.
500,000 people or better.
I mean, we went down there, I don't know, 4 or 5 times this summer, and
I went down twice.
C-Ray always put on a good show.
Yeah.
Yep.
I went down twice. They were looking for me one time, and I wasn't there. Oops. Had to call Warren and apologize to him. But, he puts on a good show, too, He
does.
And, be interesting to see. But, I plan on running down there a couple of times this summer, see how things go.
I know with the times we went watch Mike and Fred Truskowski. They ran over there a few times with their stock cars and their sport mod.
Mike couldn't carry both licenses for stock car and hobby stock.
Right.
So he raced that stock car down there in that whatever class it's called. It's not stock cars. It's something else.
Isn't it street stocks?
Something like that.
I think it's street stock class. Yeah.
So Mike would go down there and run that.
Yep.
And it did pretty good with it.
He won one night, won one feature, and I know he finished second that last two, the big show they had there at the end of the year. He ran second. Got passed right at the end on a race.
Hey, before we get our guests over here, IMCA came out with new rules. Did you see that?
I haven't had a chance to look.
You haven't looked at those?
I not real close. I just glanced over some of the stuff.
And the reason that I bring that up is because I get so much static for racing a truck motor.
Okay.
And you guys run the truck motor as well.
Yes, we do.
Tailgate
and all.
But you don't get the tailgate next year.
Really? They did take?
I think. You know what? I was hoping you'd looked because that's what I'd been told is they took the tailgate away.
Well, I seen a comment that said something about the not having the spoiler anymore, which.
Do you think it makes a big difference?
I didn't like it anyway because every time you go to wash the car, mud don't fly off the back.
I think I'm going to build 2 spoilers this year, and I'm going to try the smaller one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll make me faster.
Well, I know when Earl Kinderconnect took his late model Belleville. Did you see what he did? He took the right side. He took the right half of his spoiler off.
Really?
I think it was the right half. He only ran like half of a spoiler.
That big 12-inch spoiler.
It'd be like a parachute back there going that fast.
Our guest is hollering at me, so we'll get him over here pretty quick.
Okay.
But I think that big 12-inch spoiler on a big track like that would slow you down a little bit.
It could. I
don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I've struggled with speed anyhow, so anything's got to help.
Haven't had your car to the wind tunnel yet?
No. Is there one around here? Well, Bobby, I'm going to send you on over and get our guests so we can continue on. If you can holler at them and see if they can come over here. Yeah,
I'll go
grab them. I'll chat here for a minute. I always love it when Bobby leaves me by myself. Doesn't give me much anything to talk to about. But we're going to be joined here in just a few minutes by Tony and Chris Humphries. So we'll see if they're ready to get over here. I know they were eating when I walked in a little bit ago. They ought to come down and join us here at Chuck's Bar, 600 North Santa Fe, just a few steps north, you can tell. Just a few steps north of the railroad tracks. Come on down, join us for your favorite adult beverage. We figured somebody'd read the rules. I was hoping Bobby had. They just made the change. Here. And you have to talk into this thing. Is your dad going to make it over?
He's a little slow.
Here, I'll turn it on for you.
He's a little slow.
He's a little
He's
slow.
on his way.
We may need another chair. No, we got one over there. I'll scoot her around here.
We got the
official word?
I was just going to say we got the front side of Chris this time.
Instead of the backside? He's joined us a time or two, but we've never...
Yeah, you just never seen his face.
Chris Humphries drives the C4. Where'd you get that number at?
The C is, of course, for Chris, but when I was growing up, my favorite driver was Ricky Dunsworth, and his number was 4, and that's where the 4 come from.
Your dad had number 8 for years,
8D.
Didn't he? 8D. So it's just half of the 8.
Yeah, half of it.
When I first started, the car was 54, and then when he took it over, he just took the 5 off of it.
That made it easy.
Yeah. Just peel that number off. Big plans for next year?
No.
New car coming?
No, I wish. Maybe I can get Bobby to fund some money over to me to get a new one.
Yeah.
But no, we're gonna make some changes. Bobby come over the other day and helped me do some measurements on some stuff that I knew was off, but I didn't think was a lot off. But once we got to measuring, it was a lot off. So we're going to do some changing.
They're going to have to get the
and-
torch out.
Yeah.
What does he pay you? I mean, I need you to come look at my stuff, and it's jacked up and ready to go, and I haven't seen you yet.
What are you working on?
Huh?
What are you working on?
The new one.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on out.
I'll have to do that.
Yeah,
Got
uh-huh.
the heat on?
If I know you're coming, Bob, I'll make sure there's heat there.
They had it nice and warm in their shop.
I told you. In fact, I told you when we walked in the door. It's probably a good thing we moved this to Chuck's because it's a little chilly in mine tonight.
Yeah, I'll bet.
I think it's barely 40 degrees in my shop.
Yeah, it's probably colder than that in ours right now.
Gotta
So-
love winter in Kansas, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. So, Chris, was you satisfied with your season?
Yeah, for the most part, it started off kind of rocky, and then, it smoothed out. We had some bars break on the car, and so we got all that fixed, and the car was really good on dry slick. And then we was working on it, getting it better for heavy tracks. We got it good on heavy tracks, and then lost everything we had on dry slick tracks. And so started, kind of got a little irritated, and then decided we was going to go run down there to get me more seat time and make changes on the car, and the seat time helped a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And then changing the car from Salina to Wichita to, the tracks drive totally different, but they're pretty close. But
Bill and I was just talking about the rules, the difference, in IMCA and NCRA having the NCRA stuff, and did you feel like you were competitive? I mean, going there with an IMCA car?
yeah, I think, if like Godshock or Fry, one of them guys went down there and run that class, they'd be real competitive. They're better drivers. But car-wise, we were a little outdone on suspension a little and way outdone on motored, but the track's always dry slick down there, so, the crate motor worked out good for that. And
Good. I know that did you run in the rookie,
Yeah,
the rookie modified class, and I think the only difference, you correct me if I'm wrong, the only difference is the wins, like a new guy coming in, if you win so many, you got to move up, right?
Yeah,
So it's some of the drivers that haven't.
Yeah, they have 3 classes of modifieds down there. Well, 4 if you count the NCRA traveling series. But all the classes of the modifieds down there, the rules are the same. The only difference is pay scale. And then that kind of, in the rookie mods, if you win 5, you have to move up. If you win 5 features in one season, you have to move up.
I see.
Or if you win the points championship in that class, you have to move
You
up.
have to move up.
But the pay scale is basically, and driver skills are about the only difference. But even in that rookie mod class, there's some guys that there are no slouches in that class. So
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You like a dry slick track, or you want tacky, hammer down? Come on.
The way the car was on the tacky hammered down tracks, I'd take that all year because the car was just a rocket ship. But I tend to like a dry, slick, rough track. I don't know. I've always been, if it's got some bumps in it, I've always been fast. And
He likes a track with a little character.
Yeah.
Character.
I mean, I don't like
Not a lot of character, just
I
a
don't
little.
like the big holes. Like one we had the first night of the 2-day show in turn 3. That was a little bit,
6 inches or less.
yeah.
Wow.
And
I like them like about 2 inches or less.
yeah, I got a Harris. It's an antique, but that car, I ran it a lot at Minneapolis, and that car was just fast when it got 6-inch or bigger ruts.
It liked it rough, huh?
Yeah, it just sailed through there like no problem. But
They tell me that when a track's rough like that, it is faster because there's moisture in the ruts. Is that true?
There's usually moisture in the ruts,
usually, unless the track's pilling up like it did out here, and you get down to the base of the track where there is no moisture.
That's the way it was in Vegas. Yeah, there was moisture in the holes because that's how they were keeping
Yeah,
the
but
track
those
clean.
holes were down to well water deep.
Well, they were filling them. They were filling them with water. The water truck could drive up to the holes and fill them up with water because there was dust flying out of them. when you
Awesome.
drive through them. So yeah, they fill them up with water.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and then they just dig out more.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think when you add water like that, it just makes it worse.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it seems like when the tracks get rough, the guys go out and work it, and then water it. Well, when you go out and water it, all that does is give it more grip. So when you get more grip, well, then the cars are going to, chunk the
Just
track
tear it
out
up.
more. I think if you let it get slick, it wouldn't get worse. But I don't know.
I'm not a track methodologist either. I just know what I like.
I gotta ask this guy. You can use that mic. He got in Chris's car this summer. Oh, I can drive that thing. It's been a while since Tony had been in the car, and he jumped in Chris's old hot rod, and it wasn't like the old days, was it?
No, that car just. I couldn't drive it for anything. It hiked up, turned sideways, straightened out, sideways again. So I just, after about 4 laps, I pulled it in and before I tore something up.
Bobby tells me when you're in the corners, you got to point the nose of the car towards the infield. You got to be looking at the inside of the racetrack. Are you not liking that?
I was pointed toward the infield, but then as soon as I let off the gas, it was
Then he was
pointed
on
toward the
the
wall. It didn't have any in-betweens for me.
You're supposed to catch it.
You need to jump in one of these sport mods because they don't have the power to keep it sideways, but they got enough power to get you in a lot of trouble.
Delbert Smith said the same thing when we were out at Hayes, and he was saying, talking about the sport mod. He was running a sport mod out there, and he says, "Man, these things are a handful." He said, "They are tough to drive."
Yeah, I don't think one of those is in my future anytime soon. I got my hands full with what I got. I watch you guys, and I just, and Chris has done fairly well with his, and I heard you had a handful when you were in that thing. So you going to try it again this year?
I jumped in it thinking it's going to be like the old style cars. No.
It's the old two-link stuff.
These hike up. The old two-link that I used to drive stayed flat. They didn't hike up.
Well, that's what everybody says. He says they just say it's just like the old two-link stuff. No? Ain't so, huh?
No, it's not that way at all. I'll stick with, the
What are you
old
gonna do next year?
thumper days and stuff like that.
You going to get in behind the wheel on something next year?
I'd like to build something for Wichita. I don't think I want to build anything for Salina. But
What would you build?
I think I'll build a street stock for Wichita down there with a unlimited motor and all that.
That is a pretty cool class. I mean, they put on some good shows.
Yeah, their
down there,
street
that
stocks look
stock
pretty
class.
wicked.
Yeah.
They don't look like street stocks.
No, they got late model noses
Yeah.
on them. And
I've seen it. I was
Yeah.
like, what is that?
yeah.
It's one of C-Ray's
Basically, their
deals.
street stock is, run what you
But
bring.
what's it going to cost you in fuel to run down there?
We go down there and back on a half a tank of fuel.
What do you have?
Now I got a
Diesel?
Power Stroke.
There you go.
Yeah, I said, you must use a lot of gas getting there and back. He said, I didn't use any gas at all.
Yeah, none.
Chris, how many years you been running a sport mod class now?
Sport mod's been 6 years.
6?
Yep.
What
In
made you
your-
pick sport mod? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Hold your question.
I got it. Hurry, I'll forget.
It was when I first moved back, seeing that class, and it was fairly reasonable. And when I moved back here from Topeka, I was like, I wanted to do something because I was bored. So
You were bored?
Yeah, I was bored.
Okay.
And so we built the first car, and I still have it, and went out and had a lot of fun. And it didn't stay cheap very long. But,
Never does it?
No, it didn't. But
Never does it, Bob?
But we had
No.
a lot of fun the first couple years, and then struggled, fairly bad for about 2 years, and then the last 2 years, bought better shocks, listen to some of the older guys like Bobby and some of the other drivers.
Call me old.
You're older than me, so you're old. But and then, this year I changed more personal stuff on me than what we did on the car, and that helped a tremendous amount. And so, changed things for the good, and had a lot more fun this year.
Would you say that if you're in about as good a shape as you could be in mentally and physically, does it help you inside the race car?
Yeah.
Even in these dirt cars?
Yep.
I'd say you're right. I'd have to agree.
Yep.
I think it does.
I bet it does.
Got to stay focused. Trust me.
I bet it does. In your 6 years in the sport mod now, from when you started to now, is the class going the right way? Is there anything you'd like to see different?
I think no matter what you build to race, it's not cheap. Even the sport compact cars, you can't build a competitive one of them cheap.
No.
But the sport mod class, I think, is where it should be, because you can take one of them cars and run and take it to the NCRA show. But if you go to like the USMTS, they have a B mod class. I'm trying to think what Lakeside rules are running. USRA, I think.
USRA, I think.
Their B mod class, you can take an IMCA sport mod and be competitive there. There's a lot of cars that do that. Austin Charles from the Topeka area runs over there at Atchison County,
yep.
And that's a USRA B mod rules, and he did fairly well over there.
Uh-huh.
So, but all in all, I think it is. There's some rules that I think they should change a little.
Like what?
I don't know. Shocks is one deal, but they have kept the shocks, our limitations of what we can run, which helps keep it, cheaper.
Right.
But,
what about transmission? What do you think of the transmission rule?
I don't know. There's still a lot of 3 and 4 speed manual trannies out there. There are guys that are paying way too much for them, I think. But I'm still buying them for $50 or $75 a piece.
You're running a 3-speed?
Yeah, that's
a manual,
what we got. Yeah.
A manual, yeah. So do you feel that would the guys be ahead if they was to allow the Brens or the Falcons? For the longevity of them, I know a lot of guys are running power glides, and
yeah, I ran a power glide when I first started. The first full season, I didn't have no problem. The second year, didn't have no problem, but then once I started having problems, I had.
Then they just
problems.
kept on coming, huh?
Yeah, and then the last time I broke the one, pulled it out, and I had a 4-speed and put it in there, and
been pretty reliable since.
Broke one transmission because I had a 2-link bar brake, and it just shoved the driveline as far up in there as it could go, and shoved everything out the front of the
Broke a ear off? Broke the transmission.
It just shoved everything into the back of the clutch, ruined the clutch, and all that. But other than that, all I broke is ears.
Some of your competitors have really good luck with those power glides, and you're right. I think once you get one that works, it works. But once you start having troubles with them, it could be anything. If your drive shaft isn't balanced perfectly, or anything like that, or anything, then you just got a multitude of problems.
Yeah, and the pro that I like about the power glide is it come off the corner a lot easier, and you could drive into the corner probably a car and a half length further than what you can a manual with a clutch.
You don't have to use the brakes as much with a power glide because it helps slow the car down. Yeah.
That was the benefit to the power glide, was being able to drive into the corner a little bit deeper, and it does come off better.
Yep.
But how would that compare if they would let you to run a Bird or a Bren or something like that, or would that kill the cost of the class?
I think it would, because them trannies are $1,000, I think.
Yeah, a little more than that.
But I have one sitting on the shelf just in case they ever let us. But we got it in some horse trading stuff. So it ain't costing me no money sitting on the shelf.
Yeah.
So that's where it's sitting. But
how about now that the modifieds are allowed to run quick changes, everybody's got lightened gears out there. How do you feel about?
Yeah, the lightened gear. I'd rather run a non-lightened gear. They last a little longer, but I would kind of like them to let us run a full spool.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Because there's going to be.
Is there an advantage to a full spool?
Easier to put the gear together. Is about it. I mean, it's a little lighter on rotating
weight,
but
and cost-wise, I mean.
Yeah,
when
mini
you got
spool and a full spool, there's only $20 or $30 difference in price.
Yeah, you got the price of that is all. So,
and since IMCA's opened up the quick change, maybe there'll be some full spool stuff out there for sale that would go into those cars cheap. And I know that IMCA is going to look at this and try to keep the dollars down and all that stuff, but sometimes I think some of their rules are a little too constrictive when there's other parts out there that are available that are cheaper.
Yeah, and way back, was it 10 years ago or so when they outlawed the stud girdles on the valve train? Boy, that really sent everybody in an uproar. I mean, they didn't think that was going to work, and it didn't seem to slow anybody down.
I think they were trying to keep the RPM of the engine down, trying to keep you guys from building those killer motors that would wind up into the trees. I mean, I know.
Then the guys just started buying better parts.
Yeah, spending more money somewhere else.
So it didn't make any really didn't make any difference, I don't think. But yeah, and then they come up with the rev limiter. I think probably the chip boxes, the rev limiter deal is probably the best thing they've done.
Except for the guys that are abusing that, going in there and changing them.
But I mean, they're getting caught, so that's a good thing that they're catching them. So,
what do you think? Cubic inch rules. 360 limit?
Yep, 360 9-1.
360 9-1.
Yep.
What do you got? A 366?
No, I got a crate.
You got a crate. I'll give you a hard time. Anyhow.
But I do have a open motor that's ready to go, but it's 360, 9-1. So.
Is it?
Yep.
We were having our own conversation.
Yeah, were you? What was it? You might as well let us.
It was about we were talking about the rev limiter boxes on the new digital boxes that they've come out with, versus the old boxes with the chips.
With the chip in them. Yeah, I've seen a couple of those. I actually teched a couple cars one night over at Thunder Hill, and some of those boxes are pretty cool.
Yeah, they're nice.
The digital ones are pretty awesome because you can just look and see what it's set at.
Yeah. They're hard to see, though, ain't they?
Especially for a guy with glasses.
I don't know why they make the numbers so small. They're little tiny
number
things.
and a flashlight down there, so the way I could see them.
But, yeah. So, big plans for next year? Are you still going to try to do the Wichita thing? Or?
Yeah, I think we're going to do the Wichita. I want to buy gear so we can go to Meta and run up there.
Oh.
My dad's never been up there, and when I moved to Topeka, I was running mini stocks and ran my mini stock up there. And before that, I drove a dwarf car for Randy Pedersen, and we ran up there. And
you like that place?
Yeah, I like it. It's get on the top and just go.
Just cruise, huh?
Yeah. So it's.
How many years were you into mini stock?
Just 2, driving myself.
Did you have a Pinto, a rear wheel drive car?
Pinto.
Okay.
And but before I built my own car. Well, I had one back when I was in junior high, had it for half a season, and somebody else offered more money than what we had in it, so down the road it went. But I helped BJ Halpane, my best friend, and he drove for quite a few years, and we won a lot of races with him driving. So
we've kind of had this discussion a few times about the Mosquito class, the front wheel sport compact class being front wheel drive, being a beginner's class, and I think Bill and I have both agreed that having a front wheel drive car really doesn't teach you a lot about the classes to move up into. I mean,
I think the only thing it teaches you is how to race in a crowd. Other than that, you don't learn how to drive.
To be on the track with other cars.
You might as well go to something rear wheel drive. I understand where they're coming from. The Pintos are gone. They don't make them anymore. You can't find them. But I know they were trying to sanction something. But the front wheel drive just doesn't teach a guy how to drive.
No, it's
or a girl. Sorry,
it's totally different. And And that's another funny thing. When Minneapolis was still open, I wound up with one of them cars, and I actually put my dad in it for a couple weeks. But
You drove one of those?
yeah, he did.
Front-wheel drive car?
Yeah, I drove 2 races in Minneapolis, got black flagged one night in
For
it.
what? In the Mosquito class, you got black flag? Tony, for
Yeah,
what?
they said I put the points leader, spun him out. Well, he had me up against the wall, and I just slammed the brakes on. When I'd done that, it turned him into the wall. But, my fault. I don't care. We had the car for sale. I just took it out there so we could sell it.
Did you sell it?
Oh, yeah. I sold it the next week.
To the guy that went in the wall?
No.
No, to another guy that didn't like the guy that was in the wall.
Well, that's what you do if a guy's squeezing you up in the wall is
Well, there's no place to go. You either slam the brakes on so you don't get tore up. You can't turn down on him.
no, because that'll spin him out.
So you slam the brakes on, he's pushing you. That automatically, he's already pushing you against the wall. It automatically turns him into the wall.
I'll have to remember that.
A little Dale Senior.
Dale
mythology
Senior
there.
Drive in there.
Yeah.
Chris, speaking of walls, you had a few little incidences with the wall this year.
Yeah.
You was on your lid one night.
Yeah, I was on my lid once at Salina and Wichita. Tore the rear of the car off one night, and
When you're upside down like that, how do you get out?
it's easy for a skinny guy. You just push up with your hand and release the belts.
There we go with the fat
knew he was
joke.
gonna
I
throw
knew
that
that
in
was
there.
coming up. I've always wondered how I'd ever get out.
But a full containment seat, it's a little tricky to get out. That was my first time having to crawl out upside
I'd have
down.
made him roll me over.
But,
I don't care.
So
Do you have was your window net stuck or
yeah,
something too?
jammed it up, and it wouldn't release. And they finally got it released. But when we got back to the shop, we was looking to see if any of the mounts were bent, but none of them were bent.
Were the
But-
mounts on the outside of the car or on the inside?
On the outside of the roll cage.
That's
And
what it is.
We don't know if maybe the roof got between the roll cage and the
Good
top
hell.
mount or what, but it was a spring loaded rod for the mount, and then after that we switched it to the seatbelt style,
Oh yeah.
so it can't jam now. So
Did you end up tearing up a lot of stuff on that deal?
just
or?
body and the right front frame horn where the bumper mount is was all we
Was able
messed
to
up,
fix
so,
all that?
Yep.
And then you got the rear of the car tore up. Where was that at?
Wichita.
How bad was that?
Just body, just got into the wall, bounced out of the ruts, and there was the track was rough, but there was a cushion, and you could hit it. But if you got in there too hard, you jump it, or if you didn't get into the corner in the cushion, and you went across the rough stuff to get to it, then it just bounced you over the cushion, and that's what happened to me, and right into the wall.
You bounce over the cushion at Wichita, and you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Bad things
Yep.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you end up in the street.
Not a good place to be.
So,
Yeah, there ain't a whole lot of room to slide off the north end there.
You know, that track sure has changed over the years. I remember when I first started racing, it was back in the 80s. The track, all the dirt that's on the backside where everybody pits and stuff was never there. He's added all that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
Concrete blocks out there.
Yeah.
Just trash concrete. You
Uh-huh.
went off the track,
You were
tore
going to
your
tore
car
something up. Yeah. Long time ago. But you like it down there, huh?
yeah.
Where's your favorite track? I know. That's a loaded question. You're not going to get in trouble.
It is. I mean, Salina's my home track, I think, but my all-time favorite would probably be Mayetta.
Really?
Yeah. Would be a
Why?
toss-up between Mayetta and Heartland Park. Either one of them two. I had a lot.
I never raced on Heartland
had
Park.
a lot of
Looked
fun at
flat.
Heartland. It is flat, but it's a lot of fun.
You ever
So,
raced on Heartland Park?
We've been there. Yeah.
Really? Is it flat?
Kind of tight corners.
Yeah.
Yep.
It reminds me kind of the old, the cross between Salina and the old Junction City
Junction
track.
City. That's what I was going to say.
The only thing about Heartland Park is and I mean, I'm not being critical. It's laid out wrong. You race into the sun.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there ain't very many tracks facing east and west.
Yeah,
like
it runs
that.
east and west.
Yep.
That's why they didn't cut them trees down on the west side.
Really?
Yep.
And they would have had to if they turned it the other direction.
No. The reason it's there is because they can sell tickets to the stands that are just to the east, because those stands they can turn around for big shows instead of face the drag strip.
Okay.
So
And just, you're always racing into the sun there. It's weird.
Yeah.
And then the dust and stuff, everything
Yeah,
coats
dirt.
the crowd. Because,
Yeah, dirt blows right in the stands.
Yeah.
but you get to pit on asphalt.
Gee, that sounds like fun. I'd rather not be able to race into the sun. You like Heartland Park, though?
Yeah, I like the way the track races. It's not a big horsepower track.
Really?
Been to Boone?
Nope, never been.
Never
Gonna
been?
go?
Want to go. Want to go. My
You guys
buddy
got
that-
this monster hauler I was seeing pictures of. You ought to be
Um,
able to go to Boone this year.
Yeah, we got a different trailer for next year. We got a little bit of work to do to it. But it'd be nice not having to load and unload. It'll save my dad and my buddy Chad that helps me from unloading every night. So we can just, after the races, load up, lock the door, and park it and not have to unload anything. So, but yeah, my buddy Chad, he wants to go to Boone. He's never been there. And I've never been there, but I've watched it on TV.
Uh-huh.
And it's a big party.
Yep.
I'd like to go.
Everybody needs to take in that experience.
It's fun.
Yep. It's a good time.
I'm going to go again.
Good.
It's a blast. And they don't have anything I can race up there, but yeah, it's a blast.
They got a late model class.
Really?
IMC
Yeah.
late model.
Spec head, spec intake, spec tire.
And they
I'm
get
close, right?
About, and they get about 60.
I know. The tire is only 8 inches wide. Have you seen that ugly tire they run those things on?
It's kind of hard, too, ain't it?
Huh?
Yeah.
I looked into that.
They
Brodex head, spec
put on-
intake. It's even the intake even says IMCA in it.
they put on a pretty good
They
show.
put on a pretty good
I
show.
have a Nettlebrach one that says IMCA.
Well, there we go. We got the intake. So now we need heads and 360 cubic inches. What? You want to try it, Tony?
What's that?
One of those IMCA late models. You want to build
No.
one of those?
Don't
It-
want
it's-
to try one at all.
They said it'd be fun.
I think we ought to take your spare car, and from what I've seen of the street stock class down there in Wichita, you can run your old car down there in that class.
Really?
Yeah. All we got to do is change tires, no wide fives, but put their big NCRA tires on it. And we have a few over there. We don't have to buy very many.
What about the rack and pinion steering?
I
You can-
think they let them run them on some of them.
Yeah. You
What
can
about the
run it.
quick change?
No quick change.
We're stuck.
I
I was
got,
going to say something else, but I stopped. We're
I
stuck.
got 5 extra
Yeah,
rear
but
housings.
we're talking about your old car. We have 3 or 4 Grand Nationals over there.
In one night. That's not a big deal, but it was a big deal. We had a catastrophe there for a while.
Yeah. Well, finding a water pump that night was that was probably the hardest work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I did. Last minute water pumps in Salina, Kansas don't happen.
Told him I needed a short one.
we got a long one.
Showed up with a long one.
Nice.
So
That throws everything off, don't it?
nothing works.
Yeah, probably not.
Nothing works. So I sent Tony back, and he said, "Do you know the difference between a short water pump and a long water pump?" Anyhow, it was a fun night, that's for sure. But
Go. Yeah. Well, what year is that?
I think they
Or
freak out when you tell them you have a race car.
What
They're
make
like,
of car
"Oh,
is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel
Yeah.
drive?"
What color is it?
Yeah, the look on their face when they ask me what kind of car it is, and I tell them it's what is that, a 08 or an 09 Fastmaster, and they're
Yeah.
like, Fastmaster,
A
who makes
what?
that?
Well, there was a guy down in Great Bend that built them.
Yep.
Bill probably don't remember. Bobby remembers that white dually I used to have years and years ago, that Chevy. I went in to get a part for it, and they asked what motor it had in it. When they asked what year it was, I said it's a 1980. They go, well, what motor? I said it has a 400 in it. No, it don't. I said, you can go out and look. It has a 400 in it. No, they only come out with 350s or 454s. I said, well, it has a 400 in it. Now I know because I built it and put it in there. I said, a small block Chevy is a small block Chevy. It don't matter what year it is or what size motor, they're all the same.
They freak out, though. It's bizarre. And then the next question is two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive?
Yep.
The four-wheel drive is a dually, got four wheels on the back driving.
And that just confuses them even more. So, you're going to run some stuff in Wichita next year. You're going to try and get to Thunderhill a little bit. Where else? What about Hayes? You race out at Hayes ever?
No, I need to get my dry slick combination better before I go to Hayes.
What are you going to do for dry slick combination?
I don't know. Work on the driver for one.
Work on Bobby?
And been picking Bobby's, brain. But I think the measurements we took the other day when Bobby come over, I think is part of our problem, because I've had a problem of when it gets up on the bar on the left rear, that it starts out kind of nice, but then gets really radical. And then any movement, when you get off the gas, the car just, the atmosphere of the car would change drastically. And I think my bird cage indexing is off. Well, I know it's off, but it's off, which makes any movement real radical once it starts getting up on the bar.
Just need to get him more consistent.
Yeah, and that bird cage
Car being
stuff,
smoother.
that bird cage stuff is pretty tricky.
Yeah.
You can get yourself in trouble by over-indexing those or whatever pretty quick.
And it's well over-indexed.
And it makes it tough on a sport mod too, because everything's welded. If you go shortening your bars or stuff, it moves your pinion angle, it moves the index of the bird's cage. I mean, it moves all kinds of stuff because, like on a regular modified, everything floats in there, so it doesn't change it. You can move one thing and it doesn't change the other. But on a sport mod, it makes it a little tougher. So, I know we seen your car last early spring, setting in the mall. It looked pretty good. It had a lot of names on it. You want to go over some of the people that helped you out there?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the guys that helped me. My dad, Chad Gustis, that helps me. S&S Trucking, Smooth Underground, Johnson Enterprises. Who else was on there? Chad helped me out. Throwbacks Bar, I don't know if I can say that, but they were a pretty good sponsor.
Sure you can.
Up. Chad's wife for letting him spend so much time away from home, because he works out of town almost all week, and then a lot of times he wouldn't even go home on Friday nights, just drive straight to the track. And then when we started running Wichita, he'd see her a little bit Saturday morning and then gone again. So need to thank her for letting him
come on over here, Chad.
Spend so much time with me. And who else is on there? BSB Manufacturing Shocks. Jay Neal there. He has got me set up on pretty good shock selection. I can call him up or see him at the track. Comes over and helps out. Delbert and Dan Smith, both of them. I can call Dan or Facebook him, answer my questions at the track. He'll come over, and I let him drive the car at the beginning of the year. Was that last year? The end of the year last year, about middle of the season, and we made some changes, which made a big difference. Then Dirt Racing Source, Derek Klima, does a front end geometry and stuff on the front of the car, which made a big difference. And if I have any questions on how to get the car to turn in, it's usually the front end geometry that helps out. So him, then Bobby, any questions I got that I ask him at the track or whatever, he'll answer and come over.
And you came up with shirts and T-shirts and hoodies and stuff this year.
Yeah, that's another sponsor. Mike Hill at Hill Job Graphics always does my graphics. Everybody always asks me, well, what are you going to do next year? I said, I don't know what it's going to look like till he comes over and puts vinyl on. I always told Mike this color of the car is where they go, and then whatever he dreams up is.
He does your graphics too?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Does
Okay.
graphics, did hoodies, shirts, koozies, about whatever you want. The banners that the guy hangs on the back of their cars, he does those now. Hats, all kinds of. If you want something printed on something, Mike can do it for you.
He does a
so.
good job.
And,
Chad, I met you for the first time here last weekend. How'd you get hooked up with this guy anyway?
Oh, it was a long time ago. He used to date my cousin.
Dating your cousin, huh? So you got to know him that way, huh?
Yep.
And kind of got into racing through Chris, or did you do anything with racing before that? or-
Nope. In fact, 2 years ago, I hadn't seen Chris in a long time, and seen him at the track and asked him if he need help, and he said sure. So that's started going in the pits every week, and
Now you're
it's a
probably
regular
wondering,
thing.
what the hell did I do that for?
Yeah. It just kind of grows, you know?
Yeah. I have a lot
So-
of fun working on the car. It's a blast.
And you made those little keychain things for me. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Those are cool. I need to
Yep.
get a couple from you.
Yeah, I
Hey, sweet.
make
Look at
them
that.
anytime.
Can I have that one?
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, I was over
C4 keychains.
I was over checking out Chris's car last weekend, and I kept saying, well, you need to cut this off and put a bracket here. And Chad kept saying, yeah, I know a guy that can do that. Where do you work, and how'd you learn how to do all that stuff?
I work for a company called Amada America. We are the world's leading metal manufacturing equipment, and I work on their CNC flatbed lasers.
Cool.
And 15 years ago, I started running one for Casa Fab, and then I started getting into the maintenance side and got hired on with the company. So,
I see.
yeah.
Where you guys at?
I work out of the Dallas, Texas office. Our headquarters is actually in Tokyo, Japan. It's a
Okay.
Japanese company. We have headquarters in LA and Chicago, but I work out of Dallas.
Sweet.
So,
Keep you busy?
yeah, we stay real busy.
Good.
So,
Yeah, he come up and handed me a couple of these with my number on them and stuff, and I was like, that's awesome. So I need to get him and make me a few more.
That's pretty cool.
anytime.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I guess I never have heard. Chris, what do you do for a living?
I'm an auto technician. So,
Where at?
Marshall Motors.
Okay.
So I'm
Really?
Working
yep.
for Marshall Motors. How long you been there?
Since June, I think, is when I went to work there.
Okay. So you've kind of been tinkering on cars
Yeah, I've been
all your
turning
life.
wrenches my whole life. That's
Yeah.
all I've ever done. So, started out on lawnmowers and motorcycles.
I was going to say, we
Motorcycle
said
shop.
we talked about that working on motorcycles the other day, and said something about you've never owned a motorcycle.
I've owned motorcycles. I've
Okay.
never had a motorcycle license.
Oh, a license. Okay, that's what you said.
And I worked at the motorcycle shop 14
Never-
years.
Really?
Never had a motorcycle license.
Yep.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yep. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, we've done well. We're over the hour, but it doesn't matter as far as time goes.
Yeah.
If we're done, we can call it a night. It's up to you guys. If you
I
got
just-
anybody else you need to thank, please do it.
I just got to thank these guys for kind of coming at the last moment. I know I was texting back and forth and got a hold of Tony first because I didn't know how to get a hold of Chris, and then I got a hold of Chris, and we were trying to
Yeah,
round
and you were
people up.
texting
And,
me, and I
yeah, go ahead, tell them.
he sends me a text yesterday. It said, "Can Austin come next week?" And I said, "Huh?" Because
He goes, "This is Bill."
Yeah, 'cause
and
I-
I go, "I know."
well, I thought you had Austin coming this week. It's a long story, but
Yeah. It was Austin Carter that he thought we were talking about, and I was talking about Austin Allen.
yeah.
And we just
text
had our-
messages can get misconstrued
We
pretty
had our
quickly, can't
we had
they?
our Austins mixed up.
And I am the king of the one-word answer. Trust me, when it comes to texting, that's all you're going to get out of me.
Yeah,
so I
Bill's,
just said,
Bill's not a good texter.
Yeah, he'll text you and it'll be one word,
yeah.
and then like 5 seconds later it'll be another word, and you'll try to answer in between that, and yeah.
So I just sent him, huh? And he goes, I know. And I said, you got to clear this up for me.
Yeah. So
thank
I'm
you
glad
very
this
much
all
for coming down.
Thanks-
We've,
glad this all worked out.
You always come down here anyhow when we have the show, so we
Yep.
just appreciate
Yeah,
the support.
Come down and listen and support. So
Yeah, thanks.
like listening to both you guys. It's kind of comical some days.
It can be. It can be. We keep it light. You know, we've been doing this for 12 years. Sometimes I think it gets a little stale, but we've been doing it for 12 years, and the program continues to grow. So we couldn't do it without guys like you and guys like you that want to come down and be on the show and race for us every week somewhere and put on a good show for the fans, you know. And I appreciate the fans that support all the local racing. And there's a lot of things about you guys that they don't know, you know. How many kids do you have?
5.
Are you kidding me?
5
Nope.
kids.
And 4 grandkids.
Really?
Wow.
See?
I
There you
didn't
go.
know. Didn't know.
My oldest will be 25 in February,
Really?
and my youngest is 16.
Sweet.
And see, that's one thing, you know, when we're talking to fans, you know, that come every week and sit in the stands, I encourage them to come down in the pits after the races and meet these guys. I mean, they love to stop and talk to whoever and answer questions. And
I stay as late as my dad will let me.
yeah,
Some nights you can ask Chad that he's ready to get out of there as soon as the checker flag drops. I'm like, nope. I said there's some kids that wanted to come down and
Yep.
sit in the car, take pictures.
oh yeah,
So
Yeah.
not till after then. And
yeah.
You know, even me, I let kids sit in my car. It surprises me that they want to come and, you know, with some of my finishes that they want to come down and talk to me and stuff, but they do, and I'll throw them in the car and let them sit in there, and they have
Yeah.
a blast, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them have things to give away. Some of them have T-shirts for sale. I encourage any race fan to hang out after the
Yeah.
races. Go
I
find your
think-
favorite drivers, hang out, talk to them.
Yeah.
They're normal. At the end of the night, it's the best time to talk to them.
For those, for those that haven't been down there, I think they would be surprised on, you know, what some of the operations that go on down there. You know, the guys, they'll show you around their haulers, or like you say, put them in their cars, and
And, you know, the kids love it.
oh yeah,
the kids, I mean, there's been nights that I've had 50 kids waiting in line because the week before one of them got to sit in my car, so he told some of his friends. And then
yeah, and they all
they're-
wanted to do it.
you can ask Chad. There was one night that we was there almost 2 hours, and there was a line of kids at that
Is
car.
that right?
wanting
Wanting
in
to
it.
sit in a car.
And we'll-
Taken.
Yeah,
We'll do it as long as they're there. I
Yeah,
mean, it doesn't.
I mean, I'll
mean,
stay
you know,
there as
shoot, yeah.
long
You know?
as I can. So,
yeah.
and most of the kids this year, you know, since Chad makes keychains, I made how many of them? Like 300.
Really?
And
Wow.
Could you
these
give
are-
me some more,
these
please?
are the last 4 of these, and any of the fans, if they want their favorite driver made or whatever, just come down and talk to us or hit me up on Facebook.
You can get it
or
on. Cool.
whatever, and Chad can get them hooked up.
Okay.
And what do you get for this? $2 a piece. $2 a piece to have them made, and
That's pretty cool.
so
Yeah. He came up and he's like, wow, those are pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, see, and I didn't know you had 5 kids. And I've known you for forever.
yeah, I've got 4 girls and 1 boy, and then I got 2 grandsons and 2 granddaughters. So, yep. And my grandson's 5, going on 45.
Yeah.
And anything racing, he knows. And
Really? He's into it,
pretty
huh?
sharp. Yeah.
That's cool.
And even your shop. You encourage people to come hang out at
Yeah,
your
you
shop?
can come down to the shop. I don't have no secrets to hide.
Get a hold of him. He'll, for Bobby Potts, Chris Humphries, Tony Humphries, Chad Gustus, Bill Grit saying so long. We'll see you right here in 2 weeks. Thank you so much.